Shit.
Oh, we're good. It's live.
All right, we tweet the link and we'll all do the retweet thing. And hi, world. Hi. I don't even think my mom watches this.
Podcast.
You gotta send her the link.
Cole Hamels walks out of the dugout after it announced that he's been traded to the Cubs. Ooh,
Dude, those are so weird. They're just like still in there.
He's smiling pretty big.
Well, whenever
he's getting out of fucking shit Texas.
I thought there might be a reunion back in Philly. I was looking forward to that.
Yeah. No one wants to go to Philly.
You shut your pie hole. The Nationals, my God, that was one thing that Nightingale said too. He's like, "No way, not selling." I'm like, "Get out of here!" Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it's okay to disagree with guests.
Yeah, I know. I'm bad at that.
I know. You'll get better as you keep going.
I have like little respect for Nightingale. I just would have been like, "Are you?"
What?
I said Nightingale's fine, but I just feel like his whatever sources he has is just like secondhand speculation from other guys.
Hold on. Yeah. Sorry. Change the topic. So Aaron Judge got hit on the wrist by a pitch.
Yeah, he could have.
He left the game, and so at Yankee Stadium, they're basically doing a candlelit vigil for him right now. I'm dead ass serious. There's a video and everything.
Really?
Yeah, like the man died.
Well, I have a buddy. Well, it's my wife's cousin. Lives out in Long Island. The most fun. We're live.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're live.
Tweets me all the time. He's a Yankees fan. Love him to death, but true Yankees fan. And he immediately texts me, start the Bryce Harper rumors.
To the Yankees?
Yeah.
How long will it take him to earn his pinstripes?
I don't know.
That's the Yankee joke that they all got to earn their pinstripes.
No, he did. It's the new guys that have to earn them.
I don't know. I mean, the Yankees could do it, but yeah. Anyway, what are we waiting for?
Your volume to stop going in and out.
Yeah, it's here. You're going in and out. I don't know.
I am really.
Well, you were for a bit, yeah.
Oh goodness! Wait a minute. I almost did it again. One of these days, we're gonna have a whole show, and I'm never gonna pull up Audacity. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
Too much of that fancy rosé.
Drinking that rosé. That rosé.
All right. On that note, I'm recording.
Me too. How's my volume?
Oh, you're good.
All right, I'm recording.
All right. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, July 27th. You have found the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. I am your host, Matt Zawoski. Everybody calls me Zoe. With me, as always, my two best buds. We got Aldo Soto. What's up, Aldo?
Tyler Chatwood sucks, and he's finally gone, hopefully, forever. Hopefully.
Coming out hot. I like it. Coming out swinging. And Matt Anuko, they call him Nuke. What's up, Nuke?
Yo, I have breaking news. I took a shower today.
Oh.
Well, that's 2 weeks. That's 2 shows in a row. Now you're just showing off.
No, he didn't shower last week, remember?
I didn't shower last week.
He broke his streak.
I can neither confirm nor deny that I did shower in between them, but I did today.
Stay hot, kid. All right. So after all that information, we hope you continue to listen to the show because that was like a show and a half just in the intro. We have, for a end of the July show, this show is absolutely loaded. We're going to try to get straight to the point because we got a lot of stuff to talk about here. Cubs made a big trade. As Aldo talked about, we'll discuss the future of Mr. Base on Balls himself, Mr. Chatwood. And a big player goes down on the DL. We have a great interview with Bob Nightingale, one of the national writers, USA Today. And then we're going to go flip it over. White Sox made a trade, so 2 big trades to talk about. With the White Sox trade, there is an open roster slot. Nuke is going to shit on my dreams, and we're going to talk about who we think might actually take that spot. Two big names for the White Sox organization seems to have found their rhythm here in July. And then our weekly pickle, we're going to talk about Mr. Joe Madden, and Nuke might bust a vein in his forehead. And if you want to see that live, you can watch us every Thursday night on YouTube. We tweet out the link every time. You can watch me and Aldo down Pepsi products and Nuke drink rosé because he's a fancy bitch. And then we're going to wrap up the show. So we got a fantastic show, like I said, coming out swinging. So with all that being said, let's tap this keg. All right. Well, I guess the breaking news that we got to start out with, it happened. Well, we actually had to delay our taping because it happened right before the show started. The Cubs pulled off a trade for Cole Hamels. You might know him from such films as I Was Good in Philadelphia and Rangers Baseball Stadium just completely screwed up my career stats. He is now coming to Wrigley Field, where he actually pitches pretty good in Wrigley. Doesn't happen a lot, but he's coming to the Cubs carrying a 3-1 record with a 1.76 ERA, including throwing a no-hitter in Wrigley Field. So like I said in the intro, let's just kind of dive right into our points here. Aldo, as our resident Cubs guy, you like this trade? You don't like this trade? Where are you at with it?
Guys, I don't care who they trade for. I just want it to be anyone except for Tyler Chatwood starting for the Cubs again. So I'm really happy. I don't care that Cole Hamels has like a ERA close to 5 this year. He's been pretty good on the road. I know that everyone's going to say, oh, you said the same thing about Tyler Chatwood being good on the road away from Coors Field during his Rockies career. But the big problem for Hamels has been giving up home runs, and that ballpark that has a weird-ass name. I don't even know. It's like Globe Life something.
I can't keep up.
Isn't it the ballpark at Arlington?
No, they added it's like the Globe Life at the ballpark in Arlington.
I can't keep up. They changed so much. I can't keep up.
Whatever weird. It's more awkward than guaranteed rate field. I don't know.
Hey.
Take it easy.
But anyway, that ballpark in Arlington, it like gives up the most home runs in baseball. So I mean, he's been whatever. He's obviously not as good as he was when he was with the Phillies. No one can expect that. I'm not expecting that, but I mean, you expect him to be better than Tyler Chatwood, who walked 6 more guys again on Friday or on Thursday and got lucky as hell that the Cubs offense bailed him out again. So I just, Cole Hamels, just give me like 5 quality starts from now until Darvish comes back.
So what happens to Chatwood?
People keep I've had like the battle today in the mentions when the Cubs got down.
The mysterious injury.
They just make up anything. I don't even like. He's walking like 8 guys per 9 innings. Just be like, yeah, his arm is fucked up. I don't care if Tyler Chatwood like files a grievance. Fight over that for like 3 years. I don't care. Like, I mean, he still has like $27 million owed after this year. I went a little meatball-y. I'm like, I predicted that Tyler Chatwood is never. I predicted that he was never going to start for the Cubs ever again in his the rest of his contract. He still has 2 more fucking years after this year. But I mean, that might be extreme. But he can't start for the Cubs in another meaningful game this year. So if that means he's not going to get DFA'd, I mean that's not going to happen. But he's not going to go to the bullpen either because you can't have a guy fucking walking like the first 2 guys that he faces in a 2-2 game in the 7th. So
I am really going to miss your Tyler Chatwood sucks push notifications.
Yeah.
It's been a break. I mean, that's the thing. The only reason that he's had any of his good results this year is because he's just been lucky. Like, that's all it is. Every start, he's walking at 4 guys at the minimum.
It's ridiculous. If you look at the Major League Baseball stats in walks per 9, it's like Chatwood – 20 yards of shit, the second place pitcher. Like it's unbelievable.
And it's like he can't get through 5 innings. His start on Thursday was 4 2/3.
So admittedly, I don't watch as many Cubs games as I do White Sox games. Because of this show, I've actually watched a couple, which is way more than I did last year.
I hope they weren't Tyler Chatwood starts.
But with Chatwood, they're not going to DFA him. I think we all agree the mystery injury is probably going to happen. But now there's no way he makes a playoff roster, right?
He's not making a playoff roster.
Okay, so because with Cole Hamels, you're getting a tested, proven October arm.
World Series MVP, I think.
Yeah, that's a great value. Something, I'm not really big on locker room guys, but it is valuable to have a guy who's been there. Most of the Cubs team currently, as constructed, has been. But there's no way Chatwood makes a playoff roster. And for the rest of the year, do you put him in spot relief starts? Is he
he's not
starter? Or
I already said the only way he starts is if the Cubs have wrapped up the division, and then just who cares? He can't pitch another meaningful game for the Cubs because he's that bad.
No, I mean, how are you going to put a guy in the seventh inning in a game that's remotely close that you know is going to walk at least two guys?
I mean, the hope is he has when he was with Colorado, he was averaging like 4 point something walks per 9, which is like the highest. That's bad.
Yes,
that's bad already. But you thought, all right, fine, he can maybe figure something out. Even if he does it, even if he was just that level of the control wasn't there, the Cubs wouldn't have needed to make a trade maybe for another starter because you could deal with that. But this guy fucking doubled that walk rate. He's walking 8 guys per 9 innings. He's going 4 to third, 4 and 2/3 every time. Somebody said it. It's a mental thing at this point. He has he has a version of the yips. His stuff is. He throws strikes by accident. I don't even know how to say. Here's the thing: in a perfect scenario, the next time Tyler Chatwood pitches for the Cubs is next February in spring training, because he can't pitch again for the Cubs this year.
I saw a tweet today. I'm trying to find it. I can't find it right now, but it laid out when he walks 6 or more people. Yeah, you saw it.
It was there's a play.
His ERA is 4. Right, his ERA is 4, which is high. But when you walk 6 guys, there's a lot of guys on the pond. If he walks 4, his ERA is 6. It doesn't make sense.
No, yeah, I think I had that. I had a similar stat, the win-loss stat for the Cubs in his games, where when he was walking, I think it was when I did it, it was 3 or fewer, or 4 or more, and the Cubs were winning. This guy's the luck. Remember how Jose Quintana, the White Sox just couldn't score a run for this guy?
Yes.
So Tyler Chatwood's made 19 starts this year. The Cubs are 11-8 in those starts. His ERA is 4.98 or something. Whoa. In his last 10 starts, his ERA is 6.48 or 6.14. His ERA is 6.14 in his last 10 starts. The Cubs are 8-2. The offense just keeps bailing him out.
Support it works that way sometimes.
All right, well, and then Nuke. So as our resident Philly guy, and you've probably seen a lot more Cole Hamels with his almost 10 years in Philadelphia. It looks like 9 years in Philadelphia, 9 seasons. Where we obviously saw some of his best years, or he saw some of his best years. Is there anything that you can see that he's bringing to the table to the Cubs that you think is really going to help the Northsiders?
Yeah. He's durable. He hasn't spent much time on the DL. He's probably, his stuff is probably fallen off a little bit. But when he was traded down to Texas, they were supposed to compete. It kind of fell apart, and that does have a little bit of an effect on a guy. And like Aldo and you and Matt, you said he plays in a bandbox. At that short porch and left. You can't manufacture. You can't really quantify what it means to have been in the playoffs, gone to 2 World Series, and I know a lot of the Cubs have done that, but adding that to the staff, it's just another guy. It's we know what we're supposed to do. And that staff just becomes incredible. Incredible. Talking to Nightingale about Darvish, it hasn't worked out the way you obviously expect it to, but you know, hopefully he comes back at some point. I mean, and he's super fresh. Maybe they're doing this intentionally, saying, "Listen, maybe you just hold off. We'll make a move."
I don't think so.
I know, it's a hot take, right? But what if they did? What if they did? What if they said, "You know what? Don't come back." And like you said, Aldo, we talked about this in previous weeks. He's only like, we're in that window now of where they initially said that he would probably be able to come back, right? So it's not like this hasn't been prolonged.
Yeah, the latest update, so he threw off Darvish had a bullpen session Tuesday. He's going to throw again in St. Louis this weekend. Hopefully the rehab start like in early August. Maybe he needs 2 rehab starts because he hasn't pitched since like June 24th or something. So you know, he needs to build that strength up, and then, you know, he maybe comes back the end of August.
The end of August. Yeah. Perfect. Right?
Yeah. And then hopefully he's come back and he gives you see enough of him that, all right, he's back to being okay, and then you head into the playoffs with.
Right. And when you go into the playoffs, you really have a 3-man, 4-man, maybe 4-man rotation in the playoffs anyway. So, I mean, then you get into like real decision making about like, all right, you got Lester, Hamels, you know, maybe Darvish.
I mean, talking about earlier, we said that like Chatwood, there's no way how Chatwood's not going to make the playoff roster. Yeah. I mean, in a perfect scenario, Cole Hamels doesn't even make the playoff roster because you have Hendricks, Quintana, Lester, and Darvish, hopefully like healthy.
I mean, this is a pitching staff that on paper should match the Red Sox.
Yes.
Yeah.
But doesn't.
And I mean, even if they don't get, you know, the 2012 Cole Hamels where he went 17-6. I mean, he's still 2016. He was a 15-game winner. 2017, he went 11-6. The ERA is a little on the higher end, a little over 4. But again, that's playing in Texas. I really just think they just got a solid guy again with a October proven arm that is going to be a great ad for the stretch run. And I know you said in a perfect world he doesn't make the playoff roster, but I think he's on this playoff roster. Yeah. Even if you got to carry 6, just in case. It hasn't exactly been the most durable rotation. A guy can go down rather quickly.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. You just need a guy who can like just eat innings at the very least.
Yeah. Well, he makes the roster no matter what, and I think he might be a bullpen piece. But then you have a curious question of like, well, you know, Hendricks is Hendricks having a great year? I thought he's been touched up recently.
He's been pretty average.
Yeah. So you know,
everything about Hendricks is pretty average.
No, literally everything. Right? He's like 88 to 90. Yeah. And he's Greg Maddux, but he's not. So I mean, if he gets into trouble in the 4th inning in Game 7 of the World Series, and Madden wants to go run out and pull him, you bring in Hamels rather than.
I guess Hamels could just be like the new Andrew Miller. I guess that would be the perfect scenario.
Well, that's interesting. I like that.
It's just a great move by the Cubs. I mean, not a bad. There's nothing you can criticize about it. And they got money.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when you look at what Theo had to give up for this, some low-level minor leaguers with fake names, and
I don't think they're out yet, but I think like the rumored guys are like some guy named Raleigh Lacey. Never heard of him.
Nope, fake name.
And I think there's like an outfielder, something Wilson.
Exactly. So it's low-level guys. Nothing really that's going to hurt
Eloy for it.
Exactly. And then too soon. And then they also got Texas to throw in some money. We don't have the exact dollar amount at the time of the recording, but they're going to be covering a good chunk, is what I read, of Hamels' gigantic paper that he's bringing over with him. So good deal overall. Big fan of this deal. Hopefully it pans out for the Cubs as they get ready to make their playoff push.
It's not Tyler Chatwood. That's all that matters.
At the end of the day, in summary, Cole Hamels trade, hey, it's not Tyler Chatwood. Moving on, the other big piece of Cubs news that we'd be remiss if we didn't touch on, Mr. Chris Bryant is on the 10-day DL. He's got a shoulder injury. And even more concerning than that, it came out that Madden said before being put on the DL, he firmly believes Bryant was adjusting his swing due to the pain in his shoulder. And obviously a player like KB going on the DL always sucks. You'd rather it be at the end of July than the end of August. But the thing, again, that concerns me just as a an outsider looking in for Cubs fandom, is the fact that he's adjusting his swing due to pain. This is not the time to be making changes, and then muscle memory happens, mechanics get screwed up. Nuke, I mean, that can't be a good thing, right?
No, never. If you have to adjust any of your natural motions and your swing for all the work they do and the mechanical adjustments they make, 95% of the swing is natural. It's just what feels right, and it's the way that you would just generate torque and take the barrel of the ball. If he has to modify his swing for pain, not good. Not good. A lot of bad habits can start to form, depending on what he's actually doing. And I actually haven't seen exactly where the pain is, but if I'm guessing it's probably got to be on the outside part of his shoulder, because that's where you start to generate the beginning of your swing when you go towards the ball. So that takes a serious bit of muscular energy. But because other than that's pretty much the only spot where where I would say that would really affect him. Otherwise, maybe through extension, which would be a labrum thing. But extension, most of the time it's the back shoulder on extension, because that's the arm that pushes through and goes all the way to extension. The left arm kind of just, goes along for the ride. So no, it's not good. And it's just not good.
I mean, the other day, they asked Joe Madden, like, do you think like surgery is going to be needed? And he's like, I don't know if we're at that point right now, but in the off season, like,
that's not a no.
Maybe. Yeah.
And then, okay, you don't know what the crazy thing is? Yeah, that's the thing. I don't like surgery. I'm like, take care of it. The crazy thing, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's been the best player for the Cubs since he was called up in 2015. But his health, it's a bigger thing for the postseason, because you need as many good bats. Yeah. But the crazy thing about this Bryant injury, so this is the second time he's gone on the DL, and then he also missed like a week back in early May when he got hit on the back of the head. And plus, Chris Bryant hasn't been that like good for 2 months. Like
he hasn't played much in 2 months, has he?
He came. It's the thing. He missed 3 weeks in late June and early July.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously it plays a role into the postseason, like the Cubs' chances of winning a World Series. But I mean, the Cubs have shown they can survive without Chris Bryant, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much Avi or Baez carrying the team. Plus, and they've got enough, and that's a sign of right. And there's enough. That's a sign of a good team. And maybe that's why they're really going hard after the pitching. But besides the fact that they needed that other starter, they're saying, all right, well, we may not have that run generating capacity that we used to with Bryant in the center of the lineup, but Schwarber's having a better year. A lot of it's a full contribution. Today, Anthony Rizzo hit that, moonshot. So I don't think they shouldn't be too worried about it. If it was like, if he was doing what Baez has been doing at the plate, then you might worry a little bit, because it's like, oh my God, that's
like a big guy.
Yeah. But if it's the other thing is, do the Cubs medical staff and all them, they're going to do what's best, obviously, for everybody involved. They're going to weigh those things out. So if it's really a serious thing where it's like this needs surgery and holding, he could probably play the rest of the season. If it's me making the decision, no, go take care of it. Get ready for next year. Get a head start on it, because we've got the horses right now that are doing it. If it's like, well, it's like, just rest, then all right, take some rest. We'll get you in a rehab assignment, and then you come back. But if it's 100%, or 95%, listen, surgery is needed to make it, to fully correct it. I mean, look at what the White Sox did with Carlos Rodon. And I know I'm rambling here, and I'm going to stop in a second, but look at what Carlos Rodon did. For a year and a half, he was rough. Mm-hmm. And, I'm kind of getting the vibe that he was pitching with pain for a long time in that biceps area.
No, I think it was biceps. It was him wearing undershirts. We solved that in Anaheim.
Yes. When he doesn't wear undershirts.
I'm not a doctor, but that's simple dirt. Come on, man.
Yeah. But he's been lights out now. And P.S. Follow his wife on Twitter.
It is pretty funny. It is pretty funny because she gets pissed about balls and strikes. So as we sit here at the end of July, Chris Bryant's played 76 baseball games this season. He has 11 home runs and he's hitting 276. That's very un-Chris Bryant-like.
Mhm.
So, especially the power numbers.
Yes. So for the shoulder to be the issue, I think it makes this season a lot clearer in the eyes. You know, like we've talked on the show at length about the power numbers and what's been going on. I think we now know why. And I'm with you guys on, and although especially with the playoffs, all hands on deck. Again, late July, I'm sitting him. I know they put him on the 10-day DL until I get 100. Like that shoulder, like Nuke said, is at least over 90%. I need that shoulder good to get him back up.
I think like if the playoffs were tomorrow, like Chris Bryant would still be playing.
Yes.
So, but right now it's obviously they're doing the rest thing. I mean, they're probably like it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any worse if that's the case. Like he'll just play. Like hopefully the Cubs get to the playoffs. He'll play, and then they'll be like, all right, let's do surgery. I think that's what it's gonna like. What's gonna happen eventually?
Yeah, and on the flip side, if they weren't in a playoff race or in the position that they were in,
they would have just done it the very first time he went on the DL. Yeah.
Right. So, all right, let's get to it. Let's get to the interview. Again, joining us this week, Bob Nightingale. He is USA Today Sports Major League Baseball columnist, MLB Network insider, and the BBWAA Arizona chapter chairman. That's a lot of initials. But Bob sat down with Nuke. They talked about both sides of town, trades, who they think is going to get traded. Now, keep in mind, this interview was recorded earlier in the week. So Bob pulled out the crystal ball, and he called the Soria.
Executioner.
Not Soriano. Soria. He called the Soria trade before it happened on Thursday. So, Bob, good job on that one. Called that one. So, with all that being said, follow him on Twitter at B Nightingale, and let's roll that interview. Podcast magic. Thank you very much.
Tweet it.
Thank you very much, Bob. Really appreciate you coming on again. Follow him on Twitter at B Nightingale. That's Bob Nightingale, USA Today Sports Major League Baseball columnist. Very good call on calling the Executioner going up to the land of cheese up north. And that is a nice segue. That was a professional-ass segue into our first topic with the White Sox. So going on to the south side, the Pinwheels side of this program, the White Sox did trade the Executioner, Joachim Soria, to Milwaukee Brewers. They got, from what I've never heard of this guy until he got traded to the White Sox. I will put all my cards on the table with that. But going to school on him real quick, it looks like they got a fiery arm, another big arm. God, the White Sox love big arms. They don't care if you can do nothing else, but if you could throw a ball over 95, we have a place for you on the south side of Chicago. The official trade has been the White Sox got left-handed pitcher Cody. Oh, shit. Why can't they just trade for guys with last names that are like
Smith?
Easy? Yeah, or just anything. Lopez, Smith, like Johnson, just easy name. But Cody, help me out here.
Marios?
Yeah. We all laugh at Zoe, and then when he puts us on the spot to pronounce the names, what happens? Marieros, and right-hander Wilbur Perez, and then they send up the Executioner to help Milwaukee Brewers on their hopeful playoff run to come in and close out games. Soria has been playing good this year. I think the White Sox sold at probably his highest value that they're going to have for him. Cody is the prize piece in this trade. He comes in, again, a left-handed pitcher, big left arm. Nuke, I know you went to school on him a little bit once the trade happened. What do you think of this deal?
I think it's a fair trade, both sides. The White Sox win a little, they get the future, and Milwaukee gets the present. But this kid Cody Marieros, right?
We'll just keep calling him Cody.
Yeah.
Cody. The lefty.
I can't believe we haven't heard from Kato Kalin yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of. Although I need you on full Cato.
You guys want Cato for the next Cubs Brewer series? We should
Need
Cato watch.
Need Cato watch and full effect here.
All right. So Cody, left-handed pitcher. I love it. We need it. We don't have many lefties that at least are in the
minors
ilk that we would say are a top prospect. And so Baseball America had Cody at number 6 in the organization. MLB Pipeline came out today with new rankings, and
number 3.
Cody was number 13, wasn't he? He was 13.
Guidance.
Okay.
13 overall or 13 in the Brewer system?
In the Brewer
13
system.
in the Brewer system.
Okay. I got really excited for a second.
Well, he was a former first-round pick. He was like
first-round pick, exactly. And he was picked in 2014. So he's right on pace. He's doing what he's supposed to do. A lot of scouts and write-ups that I saw were pretty much, fastball can run up there 92 to 95, which is good. Good for a lefty. It's about what you need. Secondary stuff can be really good. Command is an issue, which could force him into the bullpen. But he's got this slinging kind of arm action where he moved from a 3/4 slot up a little higher, which boosted his velocity. And they said he throws a heavy ball, and that's a really good thing. And it's kind of hard to. It feels like you're hitting a bowling ball when you swing and you make contact with it, which is. There are some guys that I can remember where it was like, I think I was right on good contact, and like you just feel this heavy weight at the end of your bat, and you're like, man, that was a hard ball. So he throws a heavy ball, has a very long sweeping slider, which I'm kind of getting the vibe of like a Carlos Rodon-ish kind of like feel with that. But the big question mark right now, I mean, he's in Double-A. He's got a good ERA. He's got some high walks, but you know what else I like to see? Actually, his career whip, and that's where we see the walks plus hits plus innings pitched.
Whip.
It's well over 1, and 1 is average. So he's like 1.4, and it's not good. But
is it more walks or hits?
I thought it was more hits than walks. I think he's given up like 77 hits and 45 walks. But you put those two together, you get a lot of people on base, But his ERA is under 4. So the good news to me is that he's pitching in high leverage, high stress spots, and he's not giving in. So whether he's just lucky and he's getting, double play balls here and there.
Oh, another Tyler Chetwood.
Often.
You shut your dirty
thing to me. But then I can torpedo that whole argument by saying, he's at Double-A already, So
I don't want to be.
He's only 22.
Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off. I don't want to be all negative, but
you will.
But I was just going to point out he was drafted in 2014. Obviously, he hasn't lived up to whatever expectations he had, because that was the same year Rodon was drafted. So Rodon. Was he out of high school?
He was a high school pick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that makes sense. Okay. Well, never mind then. There you go. I'm not going to be negative.
That's right. That's what I was saying. I mean, like if he was a college draft pick and he was still at Double-A, yeah, it'd be red flags going up everywhere.
He's just been climbing the system at a young age. Okay.
So he's right on pace. So, but that was with and you know what else too is the White Sox. He played in Biloxi, so he was in the Southern League, and I think he was in the same division as the Barons. So they have a lot of they have a deep book on him.
Well, the White Sox and Brewers, they've already made 3 trades in the past year. The last year, Anthony Swarzak, and then Saladino in April. That weird trade.
Yep.
Right.
And now this trade.
Saladino's hitting walk-off sacrifice flies, baby. That's a big trade right there. But so again, first of all, Cody's new nickname is Fire Stick, just so you know, because he throws it hard, and Cody's the app that you put on your Fire Sticks to watch illegal movies. So his new nickname is Fire Stick. Go ahead and trademark that. Print the shirts.
All these shirts.
Print the shirts. But no, the initial reaction from both national and local baseball writers on the Twitter machine were that the White Sox won this deal. That seemed to be the general consensus. And I know
they both won.
Yeah. Again, like you said, Nuke, the Brewers got something they needed for right now, where they're in the mix. And the Sox, a team that's rebuilding, got a good left-handed arm that they needed for the future, and that works.
Yeah. And the White Sox sent money too. I mean, I think when Soria came over with Avalon, Kansas City sent money, and I think they pretty much just transferred that money over to the Brewers too. And then there's this. So yeah, I agree with you. You know, like the upside is good. So the White Sox got the ceiling, and they got the ceiling with this other kid, Perez. He's a late bloomer. He's still in the DSL, in the Dominican Summer League. He's 20, which you don't.
Seems a little old.
You're not 20 in the DSL,
Yeah.
but most of those guys sign at 16. He signed at 19. So, and he's been lights out in 70 innings there. I think his ERA is, somewhere in the mid twos. But, why is he still in the DSL? So is he another one of those players that just started late? Like Eloy hasn't been playing extremely long. I think he picked up his first bat when he was 12. I think he wanted to be a basketball player. So, excuse me, Tim Anderson did the same thing. He was a basketball player, decided he wanted to play baseball like mid high school, and then just like went off the charts. Crazy good. So that is like, I think that's a ceiling guy. That's like a major ceiling guy. We don't know where his floor is, but ceiling is high.
Funny thing,
he's a guy. I'm just saying he's just a guy. I think
he's the classic lottery ticket guy where you just hope for something.
Exactly. Hopefully he turns into Mariano Rivera.
Funny thing about the Wilbur Perez thing, when I first saw the trade and I looked up the players, I looked him up. There's another Wilbur Perez. He's Cuban. I'm like, oh, of course, White Sox getting another Cuban guy. But I looked it up. But I looked it up. The other Wilbur Perez is 41 years old, and at first I'm like, what the hell are the White Sox doing, trading for a 41-year-old pitcher?
Why is Manny Mota out there?
I'm like, oh, wrong. There's two Wilburs.
So, speaking of the White Sox and their farm system, with this deal, there is a empty roster spot. So, of course,
Carson Fulmer.
Speculation. Oh, God.
Diego Vieira.
You had that locked and loaded, all those. Since
Diego Vieira is coming.
You got to get Carson another shot to be a reliever and show off.
He did say in a recent interview, Fulmer said, I want back in the show no matter what role they give me, if that means coming out of the pen.
They just need to bring up any guy who's been up, who's on the verge of getting up. Just bring him up. Come on.
Give it a shot. So there's an empty roster slot. White Sox have a fairly long homestead coming up. You usually like to roll out top prospects during homesteads.
Too much pressure. You gotta get them on the road.
Nuke is convinced that it's Kopech. Or you have a feeling that it's Kopech. I think you've had too much rosé, but you have a feeling that it's Kopech.
Drunk on that rosé.
Of course, if you follow me on
not Eloy.
If you follow me on Twitter, I want to see the guy that has a slash line of 351, 400, 622, and a K rate under 10% in his 20 games in AAA.
I mean, why would the White Sox bring up Eloy when they have Adam Engel just crushing it?
Adam Engel should not be on the White Sox. It just blows my mind. They have so many good outfielders in the system.
I think the White Sox rank dead last in every outfield stat.
In a completely just
except for polka bombs.
Yeah, like the home runs is like
completely throwaway season, and yet they still keep rolling Adam Engel out there. Why not bring a guy up to get some major league swings? I don't know. I don't get it. I understand it's not going to be Eloy. I'm still going to beat the shit out of that drum until he finally comes up. But Kopech does make a lot of sense. Nuke, I want you to explain to the people, because you've been preaching about it now all day, the 6-man rotation, how he fits in, and the pros and cons of that. And remember, you're on a shot clock.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting a feeling because for several reasons. One, he's checked all the boxes of what I think the White Sox wanted to see him do in AAA. He's had very, very good starts, and he's taken his lumps for a little bit. He's bounced back. He showed resilience, excuse me. And so this also fits because he's on what I would say is a 160 inning probably limit. He's at about 94 right now. If they brought him up and they went to a 6-man rotation it would extend the season for him, and he wouldn't have to go to the bullpen. It would relieve the innings on the arms in the typical rotation, which would be fine. There's no reason not to, really. The season's done anyway. So, I mean, the only thing we don't know is whether the White Sox believe that his secondary stuff has progressed to the point where they're comfortable putting him into a big league rotation and letting him go. But everything is lining up just about perfectly for me right now, because if he started today, he had a short start, 5 innings, did well.
Got pulled early, didn't he? Didn't he have like only 80 pitches?
Pulled a little early.
Yeah, they're saving his arm for his big call-up this weekend.
But he could start on regular rest on Tuesday against Kansas City.
Oh, and Kansas City sucks balls.
And Kansas City sucks balls.
All right, you know what? Let's just be. We're recording Thursday night, but it's going to come out Friday. So let's just break the news.
Are we calling it now?
Michael Kopech has been called up.
I got to get my draft ready.
Call it.
Or it could be Ian Hamilton. Or it could be Ian Hamilton or Diego.
I love it. It's going to be some guy. It's going to be like some lower level prospect that we like.
We should probably just record a bunch of these, and just so we could say we call it. Ian Hamilton has been called up to the White Sox.
Yeah.
Woo. Blah,
you
blah,
heard
blah.
it here first.
Are you guys ready? Breaking news: Carson Fulmer up with the White Sox.
He's a closer. Why not?
All right, now you guys do another one.
It's happened. Eloy is here. Yes!
Okay, well, we know that one's
not a chance.
Damn it, that one had so much enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That was your best one.
You guys got it. I'm kind of upset that neither of you complimented me on my amazing Eloy stat that I dropped in very nonchalantly.
That's pretty good. What was it? What's his
still
like
not,
slugging? It's like 5
still not
something.
400 with 40.
20 games in AAA. He's 351, 400, 622.
Oh my goodness.
His K rate right now is under 10%. The man doesn't strike out. He just hits doubles and bombs.
Oh, he's going to be so good for you guys.
I don't see the problem here. Don't see the problem.
No, I got to let him marinate a little longer.
What about, who comes up first, him or Basabe? Or Basabe's like still in AA, right? Never mind.
I don't even think Basabe's in AA yet.
Oh, he's not?
I think he's still in high A.
Is he in Winston?
Or maybe
he's on that Winston Dash team that is like an all-star.
Yeah, that's
like their high A team, right?
And Lubob hasn't even come back yet.
And that team is ridiculous. That team would beat most AAA teams. That team is gross.
Oh, I saw this conversation kind of pop up. Who do you like at this pace? Dylan Cease better than Michael Kopech?
Oh no, but he is good. He throws darts.
Good.
I mean, hasn't he been more consistent than Kopech so far through their development?
Maybe, but I think Kopech has the secondary stuff. He's got a hammer for a curveball.
So Cease just all fastball. I haven't seen any of his games.
Yeah, Cease throws darts though.
Cease will be there. I mean, Cease will have a legit shot at the show next season, coming out of camp. I think
he's going to be their close, right?
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
The White Sox close.
That's the other thing too. We totally forgetting about Zach Birdie coming off Tommy John. He's already throwing.
Oh, there you go. I did forget about Zach Birdie. That's right.
We could do a whole hour on White Sox.
The White Sox have had so many injuries to the guys. Jesus Christ.
Well, when you got so many guys that are good, some of them are going to fall. That's why it's a numbers game, brah.
Except for Carson Fulmer. He's just bad.
Well,
we're hoping to be the Yankees. We're hoping to be the Yankees in like 3 years. The Yankees made that trade for who was it? The most recent one. I think it for J Happ. They traded guys that they were going to Rule 5.
Yeah.
Have them. That's fine. Give us Happ.
All right, like Billy McKinney.
They probably overpaid. Billy
McKinney's. I mean, why do people like Brand? I saw his. I mean, I don't know a lot about Brandon Drury, but he hasn't been good. Billy McKinney's been traded 3 times in 4 years.
No, but Drury is the overpay because he's still young and he's got a lot of potential.
I guess that potential factor down.
Yeah, I mean, like you would probably do a straight up trade maybe for Happ and Drury, which would still be overpaying a little bit for Happ. But Drury has that whole like hidden migraine issue. It was weird in the beginning of the season because he just like disappeared from a game and it was like he's on the 10-day DL and he won't come back. He was gone for like a month. And he's like, it was this thing because I think Drury came from San Diego. Is that right?
I thought it was Arizona.
Or Arizona? Well, wherever wherever he came from, it wasn't just, it was like hidden in his medical files and wasn't found. So it was like this total, like, we didn't know about this.
No.
So I think that was a big surprise. Yeah.
And so before we get into our pickle, because I have a feeling our pickle is going to take up a
Ooh,
nice chunk of the show.
It
I
is.
just want to point out that in the last 30 days, Moncada has a 343 OBP, slugging 424, and has a 767 OPS. He's gotten in a little bit of a groove, 3 home runs in that, where in the last 30 days, Abreu has 5 home runs, and the big Polka Power has 7 home runs. They're not winning games, but some of their key guys are definitely starting to show up. That's nice to see for the White Sox. Again, perfect time to bring kids up, but that's neither here nor there. And then I do want to get into our stat of the week. I have our stat of the week here. I'm going to give you 2 players. This to you guys, so don't cheat and ruin it. But 2 players through their first 1,000 career games. One guy was 276, 344, 480 with 179 home runs and 617 RBIs. Player B, first 1,000 games, slash line is 267, 367, 481, also 179 home runs with 601 RBIs.
Well, I didn't see it, but I'm assuming one of them was Rizzo because he just played his 1,000th game.
Yes, the player B is Anthony Rizzo.
Okay. I don't know who. I didn't see it, but who is player A?
I know who player A is. It's Paul Konerko.
Yes, he is. So that is Paul Konerko versus Anthony Rizzo in their first 1,000 career Major League Baseball games. That's pretty damn close to each other. So that's a solid,
I think Anthony Rizzo is like one of the only Cubs players that like White Sox fans don't hate.
I will always be an Anthony Rizzo fan just because of personal reasons for the work he does at the Children's Hospital. That Children's Hospital saved my brother's life. I will always be grateful for that hospital, and Rizzo does a ton of shit for them. So Anthony Rizzo has a lifetime fan in me.
You have a White Sox Anthony
until
Rizzo
he blows
jersey,
you
like
off like
guy?
Carlton Fisk.
No, I don't have that.
What
would you do if he did that? What would he did that?
What if he flips you off in the car next door?
That's what you know what? He's earned 2. He can flip me off twice, and I'd still be cool with him.
He gives you the double bird. That's it.
Yes, I'd be okay. Me and Rizzo are going to be cool forever. Bonus
for life.
Bonus stat of the week. Because lately the cool thing to do has been posting unreal Greg Maddux stats.
No.
Because we've seen these left and right because he is amazing. But here's a little stat for you, folks. Tony Gwynn faced Greg Maddux 107 times, more than any other pitcher in his career. He hit 415 against him, and he never struck out once. Tony Gwynn is a fucking legend.
Tony Gwynn's pretty good.
He never struck out once?
Greg Maddux never struck him out in 107 appearances.
But they're the perfect matchup. They're the perfect matchup because Gwynn is Maddux analog on the hitting end of the spectrum.
Yes.
He knows the zone, and Maddux knows the zone, and it's that you got to come to me and I'm going to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I just thought that was an unreal stat because you see all these. Greg Maddux has only gone to a 3-0 count so many times, and blah blah. Maddux, unbelievable pitcher, just a pure craftsman. But to see that about Tony Gwynn, I'm a huge Tony Gwynn guy.
So before we get to the pickle and on weird stats, did you guys see that one about Joey Votto? Like in the past 8 years, he's only popped up into the infield like 9 times.
Yeah,
Joey Votto's a weird dude, man.
He's a great hitter.
And he's really good.
Yes, he's
the NL version of Mike Trout. Just wasted career, really good. No one knows who he is.
Speaking of Mike Trout, since we're throwing this out there,
almost made a whole episode without bringing out Mike Trout. Almost made a whole episode, folks.
Who had a better series with the White Sox in Anaheim, Mike Trout or the White Sox? Trout.
I don't know what Trout's numbers were, but I'm going to just say Mike Trout because
his offensive production, even when he didn't make contact, was more obvious than practically the entire White Sox team.
Wait, did he walk twice? Didn't he?
He walked, and then he hits 2 home runs yesterday. I mean, it's just silly.
Mike Trout, pretty good.
They're going to trade him. They're 16 and a half games out. Too many injuries.
Breaking news: White Sox trade for Mike Trout. I'm just kidding.
Save that one.
Save that. There you go. That's a good soundbite too.
For when the White Sox are ready to compete next year, they'll make that splash at the deadline.
Oh, he'll never come to the White Sox, and I don't.
Does he have a no? He has to have like a no trade list, right?
No.
Oh, he doesn't?
I don't think so. No, I
He's
don't.
Mi-
Especially he just mentioned, so I don't know how that works.
he's Mike Trout. He can do what he wants. I do what I want.
I mean, literally,
Mike Trout.
I said it with Bob Nightingale on the interview. I was like, it would literally be a Babe Ruth scenario where you're going to curse your organization for the next 100 years.
So let's get into the pickle.
Let's get to the pickle. The pickle is gonna. We need time for this.
Let's get to the pickle so Nuke can go crazy. So Joe Madden's been in the news a lot this week. One, for letting Rizzo pitch. So the whole position players pitching. Hold on, let me get it all out before you go.
I got my blood pressure up.
I know. So,
like rosé bubbling up in me right now.
I could see it. You're turning pink. So letting Rizzo pitch. There's been this huge, for me, unexpected debate between the fun police and people who just don't give a shit on position players pitching. The other thing that's come up, one of this show's favorite, Rick Morrissey of the Chicago Sun-Times.
Sucks.
He wrote a article titled "The Joe Madden Show: Proportionately Built for Others. Others' Fun is About One Man - him." So he goes in this article, and I just like the opening sentence. How much is too much when it comes to Joe Madden? I think we passed too much about a mime ago. Oh, yeah. Can you feel that? Get it? Because he brought mimes to spring training. So,
and then the Cubs won the World Series.
Yeah, we sure did. Damn, you shit on that one. So back to position players pitching. So Cubs were getting smoked by the D-backs. Rizzo came in, threw a couple of 60-mile-an-hour balls over the plate. Dude flew out to center.
Ephus pitches.
Dude flew out to center field. Game was over. Everybody laughed and joked and had fun with it, except for Nuke. So, Nuke, why do you hate position players pitching? Go ahead.
I don't even know where to start. Making a mockery of the game.
Why?
I get it. Okay. I get it. I get why you do it. I still don't like bat flips. But I get why you do it. I get it's like, okay, it's 17-2. It's the third inning. I'm not going to blow my bullpen on it. But that is exactly that's what you call disrespecting the game. And it's one of those things that baseball does. You respect the game, you respect your opponent, and you do it and you compete. You go out and you compete. Of course. If I mean, like, how many blowouts have there been that the White Sox were in that it was like, well, they throw Chris Volstad out there. They don't need to do that. What are you going to do? Throw Yolmer Sanchez on the mound?
Matt Davidson?
Sure, why not?
Matt Davidson? Right. I understand throwing a position player out there when your bullpen is when you've maxed it out and there's nothing left, no other pitcher to bring in the game. But like Madden did it with, didn't he do it with the Cardinals in like the 5th or 6th inning?
Yeah, the Cubs were down they were
17-2.
Yeah, it was I think at the time it was 12-2 or something. The Cubs were in the middle of playing 5 games in 4 days. They had a doubleheader the next day with Tyler Chatwood pitching the first game, so you don't know how many innings he's going to go.
Garbage. It's a mockery. It's not.
So your biggest
not
point.
Supposed to do that.
So your biggest point is though, you always try to compete, right? Or you always want to compete, right?
Well, because you can come back and win.
Okay,
you're basically just waving the white flag, saying we don't care anymore. This game is a joke.
Dude, they brought him in with 2 outs in the 9th.
Not even trying to throw hard. Literally was like they're all kind of chuckling to themselves, just lobbing a pitch in there. It's slow pitch softball. That's what people came to see.
But the biggest thing is it's you want to compete, right?
Yeah, sure, but you can't make the argument. Well, I want to compete tomorrow. What if you get blown out tomorrow?
No, I'm going to stay in the game. And that same game, the biggest argument that you're making is that you're disrespecting the game because you're basically quitting, and you're not.
You're quitting, yeah.
You're not competing. You're not giving that fair balance of whatever. But could you go the other way? So would you also be mad if a team who's up 15 runs, if they start stealing bases? Would you get mad about that?
Well, yeah, of course, because there's
They're just competing.
I know. No, that's not right. That's
They're
not even
competing.
true. That's flawed logic.
You said the thing that you don't like is that they stop competing. If a team is up by 10 and they start stealing,
No. So
if they stop doing that, I would be getting mad.
Time out. You guys are talking over each other. Let's hold on.
no,
Aldo,
I hear you, Aldo. Can I respond to
into Aldo the Spider's Web? He got you. You got it. So go ahead, Nuke.
No, he didn't. No, that's not true. Stealing, you don't need to steal bases to compete. If you told your batters to go up and hit left-handed when they're right-handed, that's also a mockery. That's also not what you're supposed to do. If you told your hitters to go up and say, don't swing and just let them strike you out, that's the same thing too.
All right, here we go.
So I'll give you there's different ways to compete. You can play baseball, right? You can throw a pitcher out there that can say, just throw strikes, right? And you can say a pitcher, or you can tell a hitter, this is common baseball philosophy. You can tell a hitter to go up and say, don't swing until 2 strikes. You can do that, and that's still competing. Stealing bases up 15 runs is nothing like throwing a pitcher or a Anthony Rizzo on the mound to go pitch.
All right. What about how do you feel about the NL batting pitchers?
I hate it.
Trash.
Oh, no. Wait. I like that. I actually don't like the DH.
That you don't. There you go. I think that's a bigger mockery of the game. You're in the 3rd inning. You have runners at 1st and 2nd, and you're bunting because a pitcher whose job is to pitch is batting like 0-15 in his career has to give up an at bat and bunt. That's quitting. Yes, that's. You look at the situation. It's like 99% of the times with runners at 1st and 2nd.
Mockery of the game.
One at a time.
The mockery of the game is having quitting at bat, giving it a bat away because the pitcher has to bat. Yeah, that's the real mockery of the game. Because you have a guy who has a career like .015 batting average.
But then you have Madison Bumgarner who'll drop 2 bombs and lead a team.
And you know what?
Jake Arrieta did it for the Phillies this year and then sounded off afterwards.
Jake Arrieta is like one of the best. Him, Madison Bumgarner are like the 2 like greatest like of this this era's like greatest like hitting pitchers. They still suck compared to any DH.
Of course, because they don't do it.
Exactly.
And it's like pitchers. It's like
the team who bat them aren't competing.
No, they are totally competing. You have to execute. If you're a pitcher and you're called to bunt with 1st and 2nd, you have to execute. If you don't, it's a free out. And you know what? When you're managing, you have to manage around it. You have to manage around it. So you have to manage your substitutions to match up with, can I bring this guy in? Who do I hit? Do I do a double switch? So it makes the game more complex and, in my opinion, more fun. Throwing a DH out there, I think the DH is a mockery. To be honest with you, you have a guy sitting on the bench who's only supposed to be there to hit.
Okay, even if the guy doesn't have to bunt, I don't think watching a guy with a bat on his shoulder takes 3 strikes down the middle. I don't think that's very entertaining either. I think that's also.
I think that's terrible. I think it's
calling the fight.
That's what happens all the time.
I'm calling
the mockery.
It is a mockery. It's Joe Madden's fault for throwing Kyle Hendricks up there.
It's over. Stop it. So that's a good question. We're going to tweet out a poll. Are you like the DH? Don't like the DH? We'll get to it. That was I think we just have a new segment. You guys are both going to be lawyered up on a topic. I'll be the judge here because we got to work on the whole not talking on each other thing. But
that mockery was presented by Sports Mockery.
I like that. Ooh, it rolls right off the tongue.
See what we just did there?
I like it. It rolls off the tongue. I will officiate from now on, though.
Well, you have to call a winner now.
Yeah, I need a mute button.
Oh, I know where he fits. I know where he falls on this. And this poll is so lopsided. What?
Yeah.
What is your unbiased opinion on who won?
I'm Team DH. I hate pitchers batting is straight trash. But if I want to see
like position players pitching.
No, we have pitchers batting.
I really don't care about position players pitching, especially when it's 2 outs in the 9th and you're getting smoked. Doesn't bother me. It is
Wait.
what it is.
Oh, wait. I just thought one more thing.
Oh, come on. No, I called the fight.
I just called one more thing.
He's still throwing punches.
I know. This is
Are you ready for it,
Go
Nuke?
ahead, I'm
Are you
ready.
ready for it, Nuke?
Yeah.
So you argued how you like bunting and like, the double switching, it's all about you have to manage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the same thing. Joe Mano's just managing around the situation of having a beat at bullpen. You're down, so you're trying to do what's best for your team. So he was managing around it. That's why he had three position players pitch against the Cardinals last Friday. He was just managing the situation.
Nuke, you get 1 minute rebuttal, and then we're done.
If you're a fan, would you stay for a 17-2 game when you have position players pitching?
There's 40,000 people who watched Anthony Rizzo pitch
In the bottom of the ninth for one out, right?
Yeah.
See, all right. So here's what we can agree on. If it's one out and if it's a joke like that, I don't know. Maybe I could be okay with it, but I don't, and I think it's I don't know. It's like bat flips. I just don't agree with it.
So a couple of things we're gonna have going into next episode is I'm gonna have a ring bell or some kind of bell to ding 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 the fight.
You need sound effects.
Aldo can put them in. I need like a timer though. I can do it on my phone next time. We're gonna be timed arguments.
See, wait. Here's the problem. Aldo is editing this. This is gonna be unfair.
I'm just gonna like I'm just gonna put crickets for when you respond.
Oh, exactly. This is gonna be so lopsided.
It's gonna be Aldo making a point.
You have to. You have
crickets,
to.
And then
you have to be the editor on this one.
I'm just gonna put like 5 minutes of dead air.
Yep.
It's gonna be like the every time I see.
In your defense, Nuke, you do have the YouTube recording that he can't take away.
There you go.
So you
redirect to the YouTube.
I will tweet the shit out of that thing.
So Aldo is going to edit this, so he's going to make a point, and then it's just going to be a sound clip of me going, fancy bitch rose. And then that's all it's going to be on a complete loop. I can't make a judgment on this one because this caught me off guard, and I just can't stand pitchers batting. So I'm way biased on that. But yeah, I think that's as good a point as ever to wrap up this week's show. That is, we just created a new segment, Aldo versus Nuke. I like it. I like it a lot. It's called Judge. We'll call it Judge Zoe because we're gonna make it about me somehow. Because I'm not talking.
Judge Zudi.
Why don't we call it Get Me Another Beer?
Yeah, well, that's actually pretty good because I could have downed about 3 or 4 in that segment. So everybody knows. Before we wrap up, I know we said we are going to announce the winner of the signed Jose Abreu bat. Make sure you're following and paying attention to @PinwheelsIV pod on Twitter. I am going to go live with the Periscope tomorrow or today. This is coming out on Friday. So this afternoon, announcing the winner and talking about contact details and how I can get it to you and things like that. So make sure. But until then, it's going to be later. It's probably going to be about 3, 4 in the afternoon Central Time. So until then, you do have time to go and rate, review, subscribe for some late entries. Thanks again to Bob Nightingale for coming on. And we got a pretty awesome guest next week.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm just going to prime it a little bit, slap it on a little bit, a little slap and tickle for the people. We're very excited, Bob. Thank you again for coming on. We're hot on the guests right now.
Say it.
We're hot. No, I'm not even gonna say
it.
No.
We gotta tease it. We gotta get him to want to come back.
Nope, we're gonna tease it. We'll announce it.
We're gonna tease it next week.
Very excited to have him on. We're on a hot streak with guests. We're gonna keep it rolling. This has been the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter @PinwheelsIvyPod. Same with Instagram.
All right, I'll say it's Mike Trout.
Yep. Mike Trout is our JJ Watt. He is our white whale. So
we'll get him when he signs with the White Sox.
Yeah, we'll just do a in person.
As soon as the White Sox sign, Mike Trout will interview him.
And I'll just go complete Chris Farley and be like, "Remember when you were the best baseball player? That was awesome." That's 1 hour of me saying that to him. So for Aldo Soto, Matt Anuko, I'm Matt Zawoski. They call me Zoe. This is the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast, and we will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, sir.
Dun,